Books? Yeah, no, I guess, yeah, books. Do you think she noticed? um, yeah, no, want to talk about books? You know, I've read a lot of books. My favorite book, right? I'll start off with my favorite books. That was, The Magic Treehouse. Like, when I was really young, right? There was a series of books called The Magic Treehouse. And it was about, these two kids who had a magic treehouse, right? And they would imagine places up. They'd go visit like dinosaurs. They went back to like medieval times. It was a really good. It was a really good kids book series, right? If there was like, if there was any TV show that should be made, it's probably The Magic Treehouse. Like there's a lot of stuff like that, right? But I mean that's like what TV shows are. It's just books that got picked up and you know illustrated, right? Um, yeah, but the Magic Treehouse is probably one of the best, like complete series I've read. And I read those when I was like really little, right? Um, yeah, no, but they were so good. Like I still think about them, right? I'm still like, no, that's like that's right. My top tier book list, right? Magic Treehouse, definitely. Um, yeah, I don't know. We had a lot of like scholastic stuff. At our elementary school, we would have book fairs and there'd be like cool posters and like the cat posters, back from like the 90s, right? Um, like before like the posters with the waves on it, right? The inspirational quote. There was like the cat and dog posters, right? And that's where I got my posters from. Scholastic book fairs. That was that was my jam. That was my jam. Yeah, and then I don't know what else. We started reading. We read some Harry Potter in school. Um, yeah, we read Harry Potter, and I remember there was one kid in our class. His name right. I don't know. Should I say names? His name was Christian, and he really liked to read books. Like he was really into books, and he read the Goblet of Fire, right? Harry Potter Goblet of Fire, like start to finish, and like he said he did it like overnight, and I believed him because like he was telling me like the whole thing the next day, right? Where it's like, yeah, I just got the book and I finished it. I was like, well, isn't it like 1,000 pages? He's like, yeah, no, but I really liked it. And he's like telling me stuff about it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it sounded legit at the time, right? It sounded pretty legit. I was like, wow, he read that whole book in a day. Shit, right? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and my grandma got me those books, like some of the Harry Potters. I remember when we went to the movie theater one time to see. I think it was the Chamber of Secrets, right? I don't think we went and saw the Philosopher's Stone together. I think we went and saw the Chamber of Secrets. I remember that. Um, yeah, and then in my 3, 4, 5 class, or we had a teacher named Mrs. Hunter, and she would do like she would read to us. She was my fifth grade teacher, right? And she was really good. She did the voices. She did no, she was really into reading, right? Mrs. Hunter was like one of my best teachers, right? And Mr. Brown was right up there too. Um, yeah, no, we read books about there was like a series of books about bats. It was like a fictional story kind of, and it talked about bats. I don't remember what it's called. Like it's yeah, not, yeah. Silverwing or something. I don't know. It was kind of weird, right? We read a book about bats, and we read another story. This was a little bit different, right? We read this in grade 5, where it was talking about like the three child policy in China, I think. Gosh, yeah. And it was a story about a third child, right? And how he lived like in really poor situations, right? Because he wasn't like, the story was like, you're only allowed to have two kids, and so like the third kid had to like hide from the whole world, right? Um, and that was like a really good series too. Yeah, she chose the best books, right? She was really good at picking books that everybody liked. Um, we read Holes. We read Holes together, and then we went up to the movie theater one time when that movie came out. Right, we went up to the Cineplex and as on a field trip, and we all watched Holes. It was really cool, right? Just yeah, it was lots of fun. Books. Yeah, no. High school. Yeah, high school I kind of stopped reading a bit. Yeah, but I got like, I mean, I have like, and then I just started collecting books. Like that's it, right? If people like collect things, right? I started collecting books because I think they're pretty awesome. I really like books. Um, yeah, no, so I got a whole bookshelf just filled with books that I haven't read yet. Cause I don't know, but yeah, it was really funny. This one time we were going. It was like a kind of a family trip. We went out. We went out somewhere, right? And and we stopped at one of the pawn shops, like a dollar store, and I found this book. I think it was like H.G. Wells, like the history of mankind, or something like that. Um, it was really old. Like it was from like the 40s or 50s maybe. And there was two volumes, right? And they only had the first volume. Um, and so we're going. I picked that up for like $3. Cool. Um, and and then we did our trip, and we're coming back, and I asked to stop at another dollar store, right? Like another pawn shop, kind of. Uh, what are the what are those called? Like those. You know. Anyways, and they had the second edition there, right? The same book, just volume two, right? The second half of the thing. I saw it. I was like, what? What? I just found it. Like just like that. Like like I got one over there, and two right here, right? It was yeah, no, it was really cool. Yeah, no, that was pretty fun. Just like finding it, like kind of like in the middle of nowhere. They were just separated, but I found them. It was really cool. Um, yeah, books, books. What other books? Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I read the Twilight books when we were in high school, just because that was kind of like the fad, right? Um, like I think it was like the first three books were out. Like you could read the first three books, and then they made a movie, like the Twilight movie, right? And then they released the fourth book. Like I think if I remember right, that's how it was. Like the first three books were already out, and then they put out the movie, and then the fourth book got released. A little bit later, right? So there was like a time where people were like like totally in the middle, right? There was Twilight, like yeah, the Twilight thing was, it was wild. It was wild at my school, right? There weren't like not a lot of guys were like reading Twilight, but yeah, no, it was pretty big around our school. Um, so yeah, no, I read those. Um, I read Fifty Shades of Grey. Um, just because. Oh well, there was a time, right? There was a time when I lived by myself. I had an apartment right by the local library. Like 20 seconds, right? I could walk there and back in half a minute, right? It was right beside my building. So yeah, no, it was just like a library, and they had anime, like they had the manga comic books, and I've been reading manga, right? I've been reading manga for, I'm 29, for 20 years. I've been reading that. I've been reading that stuff for 20 years, right? Um, there's yeah, like I started reading those Shonen Jump magazines with, like it had the, maybe you don't know, it had like a bunch of different comics in them, right? There would be like, I think there was like Naruto when I started reading, and Shaman King and Dragon Ball Z. Um, yeah, there were it was just like one comic with, like five or six different stories in it, right? And every month they would, do like a couple chapters for each one. And then they would, bring in like new manga, new anime. Um, yeah, I've been reading Shonen Jump for, like, I mean, I don't anymore, but yeah, I've been I've been reading cartoons for too long, for almost too long. It's almost been too long. Um, I don't know. It's just something. It's imaginative, right? It's creative, and it's like, you can't do, you know some things, like, it's just you know it's just a little bit different, right? When it's like, I don't know, cartoons and stuff, like, yeah, like, it's fun to read, right? It's right. Mm, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I've been reading that stuff for a long time, and that just started, like, I moved to I moved to Yellowknife for like a summer. Not a summer. Like, I ended up going to school there too, right? And in Yellowknife they have middle schools, which we don't have here. It's just like elementary school, high school, right? But when I moved up to Yellowknife, um, they had a middle school, so it was like the first time I had to, switch between different classes. It's like high school, right? But middle school. Um, and I had a French immersion course. Like, I don't speak French. I don't know why they put me in French immersion. Like, I remember we watched Spider Man in that class, in French, you know. But I don't remember anything else really. Like, we played. There was a huge gym. We had a huge gym in Yellowknife, right? Like, like, our gyms are pretty big. Like, at my high school, the one that I went to, but this gym was huge, right? This was a big, big gym. Um, yeah, right. And the other thing I remember, there were 7 Jacobs in my homeroom class. Man, that was brutal, right? There were, right, with me included, there were 7 Jacobs, and I was just like, what, what, what? Yeah, there was, but I was the only one. Yeah, right. It was wild. Um, yeah, I don't know. Books, books. What are the books? Yeah, a lot of comic books. A lot of comic books. mm, hmm. Books. I haven't really got into any of that, like, like adult literature, right? Um, like, I'm sure there's some poetry out there that I could, vibe with, but I really haven't gotten to anything, super adult, where it's just like, even there's like, like adult fiction, like Steinbeck, like John Steinbeck, and I don't know. You know, there's like, you know, I got there's a whole bookshelf out there, right? You got Paradise Lost by Milton. There's a lot of there's a lot of books over there, right? That I could read. Oh yeah, this one. This one's pretty cool. I wanted to read this one first. It's kind of, you know, it's a little beat up, right? But it was a gift to my grandma from her family, and yeah, I mean, it's not like super special, but I mean, it's like a 70-year-old book. Like, you know, she got it for Christmas in 1950. December 12th, 1950. You know, that's still 70 years. It's a long time. But it's Treasure Island, right? Did that just... It just cut out on me. Okay, I can do this. No, I could do video. Video. I'm like, yeah, the AV club. I could do this. I could put two videos together. Yeah, I could do that. That's... Anyways, right. It's Treasure Island. And like that's kind of like the adult literature, right? You know, these old books are, you know, pretty cool. Pretty cool to me. I got invited to go to like this weird wrestling thing. It's someone just invited me to, there's like a wrestling thing, right? Like it might be like, so like in my mind, because like, you know, he kind of explained it, but I'm sure it's like WWE type scripted deal, and there's a group of female dancers, and like they have like this dance group, right, that they go to, and they meet up and they dance, and yeah, like I knew one of them, like, right, I know someone who dances with like these women, right, and he was like, yeah, do you want to come to this like wrestling show? We're gonna get these like women dancers here, and then like we're gonna like wrestle, right? And I was like, oh no, like, yeah, I know one of those girls, right? Like maybe it would be fun to like go to one of these wrestling shows. Like I'd never heard of it before, but yeah, it might be fun.